Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm going to do something a little different. I've done this before. I'm going to try and put timestamps in for those of you that don't have a lot of time at once to watch a long video. I don't know how long this is going to run, but I had received several questions from some, light workers, from some beautiful souls that are very versed and immersed in their ascension work, working with others. So I want to honor that. So some of the questions that I've received are from my beautiful star sister, Bobby Allison. And please look for another class to come out soon from the two of us. So we'll be bringing you some really fun and exciting information coming forward. So please keep an eye out for that. And also Gina Scotti. So for those of you that are connected to or working with them, some of the questions in the Q&A section will be from them, as they both support my work. And so I like to honor that and do my best to support those who support me. So these questions came through from them. Okay, so but first, before we do the questions, I just want to say thank you to those of you who are new subscribing to my channel. I greatly appreciate that. If you want to stay in touch, please make sure that you hit the bell so you're notified when I have a video out, because I don't make videos every day. I only make them when there's important updates coming through that I feel I need to share with the collective. And also, to those of you that are returning and have been with me, thank you so much for your continued support. It means the world to me. And I really, really appreciate that, and send you all of you new and, those of you that have been with me for a while, all my love and light continuously. I see you. Thank you so much. So today, what I want to do is I want to start with an energy update and give you the lay of the land as to what is coming through my higher self team. I am getting a lot of information on the timeline shifting. So I want to talk to that first. Okay. So these energies that we're in are extremely high, extremely high. And what is taking place is it's making it very difficult for us to stay centered and focused and grounded in the old ways. And for a lot of us, we remember the old ways of grounding, rooting into Gaia, and putting our energy in through cords, or through growing a tail from our spine, or rooting through the feet. But we can't do that anymore, because we need to be up in the upper energies, in the upper hemisphere, from the heart center up, playing in these higher frequencies, so that we can work with the ascension column, or the tube torus, whatever you want to call it, as we're connecting to our higher self and our oversoul and source. Okay. So these energies are extremely fast, they're extremely high, and everybody is feeling them. And they may make you feel a little scattered if you're not used to feeling these energies. It could definitely knock you off your feet for a few minutes, or maybe a day. And take you out and make you feel like you need complete bed rest. It could feel like a cold coming on. And then if you don't get in bed and recharge yourself, you're going to get a cold, because your body wants you to be down. Your body wants you to be still so it can integrate these light frequencies. Okay, this is how it works. And that light frequency that's the highest right now is the plasma, because as the plasma is coming through, the plasma is basically busting through the dark agendas. It's looking for distortion to remove from our reality. And so whatever has been hiding in the shadows, that the photonic light and the solar light and all the other light frequencies are bringing to the surface, the plasma, which is like roto-rooter, and you've heard me say this 1,000 times before, comes busting through and clears the path. It clears the way. And this is how it's working hand in hand with the revelation codes that we have been receiving for a long time now, okay, for many months now. And so as the plasma energies come through, busts up the distortion, and the revelation codes can then be activated in those that are still not fully aware of what's taking place. And for those that are aware, it'll just make the awareness that much greater, maybe connect you more deeply to your higher self, as opposed to what you perceive as beings separate from yourself, like the angelic realm or the Yeshua collective, or any beings that you're perceiving outside of yourself will no longer feel like it's outside of you. It'll feel like it's all you, and you'll feel like you have lost your connection to source until do enough work to realign with that feeling within again, because it's all coming from within. It's not outside of us anymore. And this is the shift. This is the difference. Okay. So that's really very important, to have that awareness. And this year in general, 2021, you've heard me say this before, is a 5-year. So it's a year of change, and there's going to be a lot of change. And as we go through this year, there's going to be major revelations on many different levels, finding out of, the untruths that we've been told our whole entire lives, and then what is true, and then also on another level, our own personal truth of who we are, where we're from, and how we are here for the purpose of advancing our soul in this reality, which is really Earth School. It's a school for us to come in and have all these experiences and understand who we are at a deeper level, so that source can understand itself at a deeper level. Okay, that's really the truth of what this is all about. So these energies are swiftly coming in, very fast, very intense. You're feeling them. You're feeling the plasma mostly when your stomach is gurgling out of control, and it just is not stopping. It's very loud. It's annoying. Sometimes it can also, plasma can also make you feel very cold, and you can't get warm. And then you shift from that coldness, which is a state of contraction, right? Being contracted in that cold state, to a state of expansion. And in that state of expansion, then we heat up as if we're having a hot flash, right? But it's not that, because men are experiencing this too. It's not just women that would be having these moments of heating up. And the heating up feels like you're heating up from the inside out. It's not an outside warm type of thing. It's on the inside as we're going into massive expansion. Okay. And I know a lot of you are also receiving those high pitch frequencies. Those high pitch frequencies, and I keep saying this, it's very important to understand this, is a tuning into the frequencies in the cosmos, okay? And it's how we're tuning our light body. So it's really important to tune into those and see, oh, I'm hearing this pitch. How am I feeling in this moment? Oh, look, the pitch has changed. How am I feeling in this moment now that the pitch has changed? That's what we need to be doing. We need to be taking all of that into account, okay? So as these energies are coming through, we're also noticing that everything is feeling faster. Time is speeding up. Time is feeling faster. Okay. And why that's important is because we need to understand that every time there appears to be what is noted as a significant date, right? Like the 6th was a significant date, January 6th. And then it turned out to be kind of insignificant, but significant in other ways, right? So there was a sleight of hand, a twist of fate, if you will, but not a timeline hijack. Okay. I want to be clear about that, because some people are saying that, and that's not true at all. It just, in these revelation codes, it's going to appear one way, and then all of a sudden it shifts into something else, because you have to remember, we're trying to use our human thinking mind to assess what's going on. Not possible, because you have to remember, the distortion that we're actually watching is a movie. If you close your eyes, it all goes away. It has no relevance in your reality, in your field, because it's not there per se. It is a movie that we're watching, right? So we have to understand that the amount of interplay in our reality that it has is how much we give it. So if you observe it and look at it as a conscious observer, then the interaction that you're going to have with it is probably going to be more minimal than anything else. Okay. So I know we have another significant date according to many masses on January 20th, but I'm going to tell you, don't get caught up in the thinking mind attitude of what could be or what will be, because again, there might be a twist or a turn. And with that sleight of hand, all of a sudden something shows up and you're like, oh my God, that's not what I was expecting. Good, because now it's revealing another layer that maybe you were not aware of or we were not aware of. And that's okay. You have to remember, what we're seeing playing out is the old third dimensional reality, right? If you're on the 5D timeline, then you already see it as already resolved. We are in the higher state of being. We're in the golden age. We're in the higher timeline of love, unity, compassion, sharing, caring. No one gets left behind kind of your thought process and feelings and emotions that are aligned with that, right? It's service. We're service to each other. But in 3D, there's no service to each other. It's like every man for himself. So we're watching that basically implode, dissolve, whatever you want to call it, deconstruct, right? That's how it's happening. And in that 5D timeline that exists where we are in the golden age of Aquarius, and we've integrated the divine masculine into the divine feminine. Divine feminine is mostly stepping forward now to lead the way with a compassionate heart. Then you would see that everything is already resolved and worked out, and it's for the good of humanity, and it's going to be beautiful and it's going to be amazing, and the best is yet to come. However, you have to stop looking at what is right now because you're watching the 3D movie. That's what 3D looks like. What is playing out in the government? That's what 3D looks like. If you want to know what the higher time looks like, go out in nature, take up painting, take up dancing, do some music, uh, be a creator. I don't care what you do, right? It doesn't matter. Build cars if that makes you happy. Whatever is making you happy, do that. If you have animals, play with your animals. It doesn't matter what you do as long as you're looking away, stepping away, pulling yourself away from being involved in that lower level timeline as it deconstructs, because third dimension is deconstructing. Okay, it's pulling out of all of our fields. So I just wanted to give you that light because it's very, very important. Okay. Now let's take a look at 4D for a second here, because 4D is becoming very, very, very interesting. I am experiencing a lot of different things. Okay. I'm experiencing timeline bleed throughs from parallel realities where I can, in if I let's say I'm sitting and I zone out for a second, not like a meditation or anything, but I'm hearing voices as if they're in the house with me, and almost making out the conversation. The other night when I was laying down in bed, just before I was falling asleep, I was in that in between void state, and I was actually pulled into another reality and felt myself go, as if it feels like you're on a roller coaster and all of a sudden you're going down, and you know that whoosh, whoo, right? That's how it feels. It feels like almost like you're astral projecting or astral traveling. And it felt that there was like a high to it almost. And I know that many are seeing deconstruction of the matrix, holes in the matrix, glitches in the matrix. Time dynamics are shifting. Can't tell you how many times I happen to notice the time, and then I'll be going about my business doing whatever, and it feels like it should have been like 3 hours later and it was only 5 minutes later. Okay. Time loops, time dynamics. The other day I was taking my makeup off, putting my serum that I make on, and I thought my bottle was empty, and I pulled it out of the closet just to go down and make some. I really didn't want to do that because it was late, and I just wanted to just get myself undone and go to bed. And I was remember having like this moment of wishing that I had just a little bit of oil left for that night. And guess what? When I opened the bottle, there was just enough oil left for that night, and the next morning I was able to make oil. So we're having those kinds of anomalies, right? I'm seeing pictures of people taking of the sky where it looks like there's a tear in the sky. I know when I'm looking at, the edge of a doorway, or, a wall or a window, it starts to wiggle like it's becoming, unstable as the reality is dissolving, and it's happening more and more. I have clients who are able to see through rooms. As crazy as that sounds, they are able to do that. Their third eye is wide open, so they're seeing a lot of things, which is really, really cool, right? And seeing and hearing and feeling, again, the plasma energy, when it comes through at night, it makes the house creak or things bang in the house or whatever. So you'll be able to sense when the energy is shifted. If you can't feel it, you start tuning in and you will definitely start to feel it. But all of these different anomalies are happening because what's happening now is we're on a timeline convergence, which started back on December 21st, 2012. Okay. And it cannot be stopped. There's no stopping it. It's what's aligned for this soul experience that we're having. All timelines are converging, okay? And each soul has a choice of how they want to engage in the timeline. Do you want to participate and jump on the higher level experience, which is your soul's evolution? So you're stepping into your spirituality more now, or ascension path, ascension process, right? Ascension journey. Or are you going to resist and be resistant to the new that is evolving, that is opening, only wanting to stay rooted in the old, and participate in that, which means that your soul is engaging free will, and you're not going to evolve your soul because you're rooted in routines in the third dimension, and that is a very strong imprint in your field, a very strong program that you're running, the third dimensional program, right? So it's a choice up to us, and there is that free will choice that we can make as to how we want to navigate this reality. So more fourth dimension will be those moments where you're feeling almost high, where you're feeling etheric, right? Those moments of being high, actually accessing the 5D timeline, because in 5D, you just feel happy for no reason. You feel joyful. It feels exciting, right? And it feels magical. And these convergent timelines that we're having, it's like every single timeline, all of them coming together, converging into one timeline. That's what's happening now. And we're seeing this very, very prevalent in dream state, right? Very, very much so. And I could tell you that my friend who shares the house with me had a dream last night where she was with her son who passed, and his son, who's her grandson, and they were playing and talking and sharing. And, I explained to her this morning that that is a timeline where he's still here, that his soul did not depart the earth. And we all have that. For every choice we make, that we're in this experience now on this timeline, aware of being present, there's also all those bazillion possibilities, potentials that we did not choose, right? Playing out without us. Now we're merging all of those timelines in our dream state. Okay, so it's really, really important to have that awareness and not get caught up in what you're dreaming about, because you're merging timelines and they're needing to merge in this now moment, because this is the one. This is the existence. And every time you have these dreams that are merging into this present current timeline, it's actually activating you and amplifying you and bringing you to your next highest state of being. So it's really important that we stay aware and are participating, right? Which means it's very important for us to be present in our state of being and not be in the past, because there is nothing for us in the past. It does not even exist, right? What you're feeling is you're tuning into the imprint in your electromagnetic field that has an imprinted emotion in it that you have not cleared from your field. So every time you think of something that reminds you of that time in your life, or maybe it had to do with a relationship you had, then you're triggered to remember and feel that emotion that was attached with that imprint of that timeline of that event in your field. Okay. And why it's so hard to break is because at the same time you're tuning into the imprint of that timeline of that event in your field, you're also tuning into the imprint in Gaia's field, in the Earth's field, that has that same emotional imprint from the bazillion people that are on the planet right now. So it amplifies what you're feeling. And then you think it's yours and you think it's your feelings and you can't break out of those feelings. This is how it works. It's amazing. And once you see how this all works and want to take the time to get to know how this works, it'll blow your mind to see how fast you can release all of it, because you don't have to suffer. We didn't come to the earth experience to suffer. We came here to understand feelings. We came here to understand our emotional body. We came here to understand how to connect in relationships, how to be in a relationship with ourselves, right? And so this is a big part of why we're here in the physical on the earth plane, okay? Now, talking about these high energies and feeling out of sorts and feeling very emotional, it's also super important to understand that meditation may become a little more challenging for those who are trying to meditate, because meditation requires that we still or calm the mind, okay? And when these energies are this high, these frequencies that are rushing through our electromagnetic field, it becomes like a surge of energy. So even when we're sitting in a meditation, happens to me too, and we're not able to bring ourselves to complete present moment, it will feel jittery in your body. You'll feel like, you're on electrical stim or something like that, right? And then we have to get even more present, which means we take the thoughts out of our head and drop them into our heart center. Okay. That part of it is so critically important to our process. I can't even explain how important that is, okay? Because meditation is changing. We're moving so fast now that we're having access to everything that was beyond the veil, right? When we were in 3D, we couldn't get there because there was a veil separating 3D from 4D, which is the astral plane. And from the astral plane, every other plane of existence is available to us. But we couldn't get there. We could only get there through elevating our consciousness, meditating, getting super quiet. Now it's kind of the opposite. Because everything is available to us, it can make us feel anxious. It can make us feel excitement. And if you don't know the difference between excitement and anxiousness, then you have to tune into that vibration, because they're one and the same. Okay, the same frequency for excitement is the same frequency for anxiety. Okay, what makes the difference is where your thoughts are and what your emotions are playing out to. Okay, because excitement and anxiety are one and the same vibrational state of being. What makes it anxiety as opposed to um, excitement is where your thoughts are. That's it. Okay, so the next time you feel excitement or the next time you feel anxiety, check your thoughts. Okay, and sometimes we're feeling anxiety, but we perceive it as anxiety, but we're really feeling excitement. And the reason we're perceiving it as anxiety is because we're afraid of feeling excited, because we're not used to feeling excited. Okay, so that's really, really important to have that awareness too. All right, so you got to check yourself on that and know what you're feeling when, which means that Okay, next topic. We have to be very, very present. You want to be in a present state of being. So we are not going back to that past, which is the emotional imprint in our field. We're staying completely present. Okay. And in that present state of being, we're not looking at the future either, because the future has no relevance, because we're creating our future by being present. Right? This is how it works. This is, if you can get this, man, you're golden, because you don't need anything else. This is how it works. Our present state of being is creating the reality that we're desiring. Okay. So by staying present, you're creating the better future if you are doing a great job navigating your reality in this present moment. But if you're chaotic and all over the place and not creating from a present state of being, then you're going to create chaos going forward, and life is just going to seem harder and harder and harder the faster these energies get. That's just how it's going to play out. Okay. So the more you do your work on becoming present and getting into a present state of being, the better it's going to be. So when I'm asked, how can I meditate to calm myself? This is one of the questions that I got. I would say, don't try to meditate right now. Meditate on being present, right? Focus on being present. Your meditation experience should be bringing yourself back to the now, and to this now, and now, and now, and now, and staying present. And the minute you feel your thoughts drifting off to the future, just calling them back and being present in the now. Or if you're thinking about something in the past, calling them back and being present in the now. Okay, this is what we want to do. And then you will find everything else starts to fall in place. And boy, a state of calmness, happy, and joy just comes flooding into your field, and it's like nothing else you've ever known. Okay, that's what brings our bliss. So that's where you want to be. All right. So let's see, what else did I need to cover here? Okay, so I was asked about the white light and the experience of incarnation. All right, so I want to speak to this a little bit. I'm not going to go real deep on it. I might do another video on that, but right now I want to just touch on the subject very briefly. So back when the earth was started, right, for the purpose of us coming here so that source could know itself from a more vast perspective, instead of the self it knew it to be, because it's a source of energy. The earth was desired for its ability to play this human role out in a environment of polarity and duality. Okay, which means that there's good, there's bad, right, wrong, love, hate, right? So we have all of this opportunity to experience everything, right? A larger availability to us for our emotional journey, for our mental journey, for our spiritual journey, our physical journey. And so in this experience of us coming to the earth to have this experience, this is like an earth school, if you will. It's a school for souls to come in and understand and learn. But what happened was, at one point, the earth had to be encapsulated because there was kind of a battle for this planet, because it's very viable, very rich in resources. And, the galactic beings that were overseeing this experiment, if you will, of us coming in and experiencing ourselves as a soul, the Galactic Federation and other essential councils that you guys already know were overseeing the process. And then the earth was encapsulated because, of course, there were other beings that wanted to fight, right? That goes back to the Orion Wars and all of that stuff, which you guys, I'm sure, already know about. And so here we have this dynamic where now there's, good, there's us coming here to learn, to understand ourselves, and then there are the dark forces that want to hijack and take over the program and the scenario. And so it kind of got to be a hijacked experiment, if you will, right? Earth School wasn't in its purity anymore, and source needing to know itself from other states of being, let it play out in the way that it was going, because after all, source wants to know who source is from many, many facets, many, many states of consciousness, okay, not just itself. And so the game was allowed to play on, and we were allowed to have this experience. And because the earth was encapsulated, it meant that really nothing could leave to go back to anything else, which is how reincarnation came about. And so when we departed the earth plane, then we went into this cycle like a hamster wheel, and we stayed on the other side for a bit, right? Because everything higher than third dimension holds the perspective of 5D and greater, where there is no distortion, okay? And so we would get on that hamster wheel, go back into the higher realms, and then come back in to reincarnate to kind of see if we could get the next time right, right? But some created distortion while they were here. So because of the way the Earth's energies were back then, had to maybe make restitution on that so their soul could learn and understand. And then that's how the whole karmic thing got put out there, right? But if you think about karma, there's karma in everything we do. And a lot of people are holding the understanding of karma in kind of a convoluted way, because karma really plays into everything, right? So if we are talking bad about someone, that's karma. If we're swearing and using curse words, that's karma. If we're, using alcohol or medicinal herbs, that's karma, because it all ties into the 3D reality, okay? And anything that's not from the heart, from love, falls into the lower realm, the lower timelines, and is now classified as karma, right? And that goes along with murder and doing bad deeds and betrayal and all of that. But now, to the level or degree of that, one also could say that from a super high perspective in the higher realm, maybe there is no karma. Maybe karma doesn't really exist because it's how the soul chose to come in and create the experience. Now, from the real highest perspective, right, from the oversoul perspective on this, the oversoul would say, well, let's look at this from another point of view. Who created karma? Who created the definition of karma? Who created the term? And then we have to say, well, I guess humans did, because that's a word that we use here on the earth plane in earth school, right? And so if we use the word karma here, then who created the definition for karma? Have you ever wondered that? Who created the definition for it? Okay. Was the creation of the word karma created to keep us stuck believing that that's what was really happening on the earth plane? How about that? So, I'm just going to challenge your belief system and challenge you to look at everything with an open mind and an open heart, and not get stuck in any program that is outside of the realm of what you know to be true for you. Okay. So for me, I don't really play into the whole karma thing, because I know where that's a creation of third dimension, and that feeds a lot of distortion, which I don't play in, the distortion. Okay. And then it goes back to other terms for me as well. Soulmate, that's also a human creation from the human construct of perceptions, of downloading information, channeling information, receiving information. Where is that source from? Many different sources. I've seen many channels out there that don't know they're channeling an entity that does not have their highest best good at heart, but they think they're channeling an angelic being or something else that's a higher level being, right? So discernment is always at play here. All right. Even in the stuff I say, I want you guys to take all of this in and use it to be a critical thinker, to do your own discernment. Does this resonate? What makes sense, right? The whole incarnation thing, as we're incarnating, somebody presented to me about the white light, right? Going down the tunnel of the white light. I've heard accounts of people crossing over that didn't experience a white light, that experienced, a bridge, a tunnel, or this or that, but it wasn't necessarily a white light. So again, in the same way as dream state, right? Because you have to remember, when we're in dream state, our spiritual body is bringing back the knowledge that we've attained or accessed in that higher level state of being while we're in dream state. And then it brings it back through these dimensional fields back into the human body, which is either in 3D, 4D, or 5D, right? Most, but go back to the 3D state of being, unawares, asleep. And then the human is trying to interpret the dream. What does it mean? What was I doing? Not realizing that they're playing in many different parallel realities at once. Okay. And then from another perspective, the translation of that information coming through. How is that coming through? Does the human mind, which has a Rolodex full of 3D experiences, have a Rolodex full of experiences from the higher 5D, 60, 70, 8D, 9D realms? Does it? Does it maintain that? I don't think so, because in those states of being, we just are. We don't need to hold information like the human mind does. Okay. So when we get in those higher realms, those higher dimensions, we don't hold that information. There's no need to, because in those higher realms, guess where we are? Present moment state of being. So there's no reason to hold information, because the minute you need information, it's right there. Okay. So think about this for a second, because everything is based on interpretation and perception. So I'm going to ask you to look at these scenarios where people have recounted near-death experiences, or even, mediumship, when they channel loved ones and loved ones say how it was when they crossed over in the experience, right? That's a perception of the interpretation of the human mind. Okay. So if you're having a little trouble with that, that's okay, because I'm asking you to step up into 5D with me and receive this information from a high D state, from a 5D state of being. Okay. This is, I'm giving you information today at the level of the oversoul. Okay. This is the connection that is now coming through. All right. If higher self folds up into the oversoul, oversoul is the governing body of everything that the higher self is coming here to assist us with, to help us with, right? And there's not just one version, there's many, 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 many versions. Okay, you've heard me talk about this before. Okay, and then it plays into the personality, which is then me, Maria, the human aspect of who I am. Okay, so if you're asking me about the whole white light thing, and then the theory of how, the elites hijack the planet and all of that, yeah, there is truth to that from one perspective, if we're looking from the lower perspective, because each soul is here playing a part, playing a role in the narrative that is unfolding right now, as we are here to wake each other up, right? Everybody's waking each other up in some way, shape, or form. There is not one person that's not doing it. My way is a little different than other people, and other people's a little different than my way, right? But this is how we're doing it. So every soul has a purpose, and the ones that perceive entities, that perceive, implants, that perceive the reincarnation in the negative way, that are, wanting everybody to understand they have to make a different choice. It's really nothing to do except sit back and just enjoy the show from this perspective, from this point, because it's already all happening. It's happening without our participation, because we're just seeing the visual of what's taking place playing out. Okay. So from the higher perspective, my higher self is getting instruction from the oversoul saying, just sit back and go paint, do your session work, interact with your clients and your students, have an enjoyable time, go out for a walk in nature, get your nails done, go do whatever makes you happy. Do what makes you happy, right? I love my work. My work makes me happy. Love interacting with you guys when you drop comments below, asking questions, giving me information on how you're doing. I love hearing how you're doing, right? That really lights me up and makes me happy to know that the work is helping, or you found your next level. That is just amazing stuff, right? But I don't tune into the lower level distortion because that is leaving with 3D. It's leaving. It's going bye-bye. And we can't stop it because we're in a timeline convergence. There's nothing that's going to stop this timeline convergence. Nothing. Okay. So fretting and worrying and constantly looking at it and giving emotion to it, that's going to anchor you in 3D, and we don't want to be there. We want to be light, bubbly, joyful, finding bliss, being in our present state of being, right here on our soul path, present moment, state of awareness, right? Being in the now, because that is going to bring us to the higher timeline. We're going to connect with all souls on the planet that are in the collective that are also on that higher timeline. And our experience is going to be amazing, amazing. Okay. I can tell you from my personal experiences. And if you haven't experienced that and you want to, and you are finding yourself struggling, join me for one of my classes. My classes are a blast. And the gathering is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And we just have so much fun. It's really an amazing group. So that's always an option to you if you don't feel like you can book a session right now, or are unsure of what the work is about, right? It's just like we're doing now. So I hope that helps you. That is what was wanting to come through today. Please don't look at the lower level distortion. Stay in the higher timelines. Get out in the sun. The sun energizes our field. If you are not feeling good, please lay in your bed and do not move. Let your body rest. Let it integrate the light codes that you are needing to upgrade your field. Okay. Time is breaking down. The more you can look away from time, if you can. I know some can't because they're on a calendar. They need to schedule appointments and everything. Trust me, I get it. I do too, but I have an auto schedule on my website, which is why I don't schedule appointments. It lets me know when I'm having a session, and then boom, I'm there. So I don't have to constantly look at the clock. If you're wearing a watch, try taking it off, because that watch ties you into third dimension time dynamics. Okay. So you want to be very, very conscious of that. That will keep you rooted in the third dimensional reality that is deconstructing. Okay. You don't want to be part of that program that's deconstructing. And be joyful. Be joyful and have fun. Do things that make life fun. Okay. When we are challenged and we're challenged and suffering because we're choosing to suffer. We don't have to. I've found that out, and I don't desire to suffer ever again, because I spent the first half of my life suffering. Now it's all just beautiful streams of happiness and joy, and I want that for everybody else. So please, please do your work, stay present. If you have great mentors out there, like the two people I mentioned at the beginning of this video that are having your best interest at heart, please listen to them. They have worked with me. They know the work. They're in awareness. Those of you that are doing the 5D ascension work, keep going no matter what, because we are doing it. Don't look at the lower level. Let it go. Let it deconstruct without you. It's not needed. Okay. And the more we look at the higher timeline, the more great stuff shows up for us. Abundance, happy relationships, synchronicities, everything wonderful. Okay. So as a closing note, I just want to say this has been a transmission. It was coming through from a much higher level than me. You probably noticed that because I was on speed through the whole thing, trying to get all of this information coming through for you guys. So this was a transmission. If you struggled with any of it, please listen again, but listen with your eyes closed. so that you could take it in. When our eyes are open, we're in our ego. Ego is resistance. It makes it very hard to integrate this information. Okay. Know that I love you so much. I love you. I love you. I love you. Sending you so much love and light today. Um, I wish you a wonderful whatever it is that you're doing, and I am looking forward to seeing you again real soon. All right. Have a wonderful, wonderful whatever you're doing. I love you.